Hi.
Hey, how you doing, Sergeant?
What's your intention behind recording the personal plates of these officers?
What's my intention?
Yeah, I mean, just what's the purpose?
Well, there's really no purpose.
So, there's no purpose for you putting in hard time sitting here recording officers' license plates to their personal vehicles?
Well,
I understand you guys have a function to fill the police and you guys have a purpose, and I respect that. I understand that by recording this you hold us accountable, so to a certain extent I understand you showing up on calls or tactical incidents. What I don't understand is why you're sitting across from our parking garage recording officers' personal vehicles. What purpose does that serve?
Oh, it's easy. See, what we're trying to do is figure out how you guys consider this how would I say, dangerous toward the precinct. You know,
I don't consider it dangerous. I just want to know your intention behind it.
Well, my intention is to videotape.
Well, I get that, but from a video buff perspective, from a movie perspective, what purpose does it serve to record the personal plates of officers' vehicles? I mean, come to a call. Come follow us to a call. Record an incident. Try to catch something with some sort of drama, so to speak, but just sitting across from the precinct recording license plates of personal vehicles, I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, some of my subscribers wanted me to get the precinct, what's happening with the precinct and stuff like that.
So if you were to, and just correct me if I'm wrong, so if you were to look at this building, right?
Right.
You go over there, that's where all the police activity is. That's the precinct. That's where you would catch officers in uniform coming in and out, and you would see what police activity is about at the precinct, so to speak. This right here are personal vehicles of officers, civilian vehicles coming to and from that aren't working. They're leaving work or arriving to work, so there's no police action here. So when you say film the police, it's there.
Oh, there's a lot more action here than over there.
So what action? Educate me.
They like to come out and yell, Bob, did you register? Bob, are you a sex offender? Register as a sex offender.
So you are a sex offender.
They ask if I register as a sex offender. They ask if I'm registered as a sex offender. I've had a couple make comments about my mom. Tonight, that happened tonight. Tonight they've made those comments. I've had officers make comments about my mom.
Tonight.
Not tonight.
I would say that's inappropriate.
Right. So we get a lot more action here. Because
you have that on tape? Of officers calling you names and talking about your mom?
I didn't get that one on tape because I wasn't fast enough to get it on tape.
So is it one time that you didn't get, or is it multiple times that you're accusing officers of doing that you didn't get? Because if you got that, show it to me and we could take, that's inappropriate.
Right.
And I'd be willing to look into that for you.
Right. But I've had them talk about my mom once.
Okay.
Right. And I wasn't fast enough to get it on tape.
Okay.
Okay. 80%.
Where did that happen at?
Happened as an officer was leaving.
Right. How do you know it was an officer?
Well, let's see. Not at night.
Were they in a patrol car?
No.
Oh, we have people that come through are mechanics, civilians parking there at times, mail delivery folks. And I'm just saying, I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. So that's my point. You guys are filming the police, then film the police. This is a just a parking garage where employees park at. Yeah, police officers go in there, but there's no police function that happens. So if you wanted to catch us doing something, police action, or engage in drama or hold us accountable, this is the worst place to record police officers. There's about 40 calls holding right at that way out in the precinct. There's officers at various calls. I mean, you can go there and film us in action. I don't get what the point is of recording personal plates are.
We're trying to figure out how someone sitting here filming is so dangerous to you guys.
No one said it was dangerous. Who said it was dangerous?
You did in court.
I didn't say it was dangerous. I said a guy parked out with a bunch of weapons is dangerous.
But he had no ammunition.
That's grossly inaccurate. He does have ammunition. If you pull the report, you'll see that he does have ammunition.
In the truck?
And he did have ammunition in the truck.
For his assault rifle.
For his assault rifle, yes. He had multiple loaded 30-round magazines and a .223 drum magazine that contained, from what I was told, estimated about 100 rounds. So yeah, he did have ammo in his vehicle. So that is accurate. I was there for the investigation. I was there, and you could understand that it could make officers apprehensive. And even in that moment, when we contacted him, we didn't draw our guns. We didn't yell at him. We weren't overly upset. I approached him in the same manner I'm approaching. You know the difference between you and him? You're cooperating. You're being nice. You're not being threatening. You're not reaching around.
No.
You haven't done anything for me to say, hey, keep your hands where I can see them, and then refuse that command. And so that encounter could have went just like this. It wasn't the guns alone that scared the officers. It was the guns plus the behavior. And so when you put that together, and the fact that there was ammo in there, and it's documented in the investigation, concerns. Do you have a gun on you right now?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Are you sure? Why not?
Why not? Because we believe that when we're out filming the police, I don't carry a gun anyway, but when we're out filming the police, we're not to be armed. We're not to do something that would cause gunfire toward us or anyone else.
So I agree with that. So if you are filming and documenting, there is no reason for you to have a weapon on you.
No.
All right. So that other guy, Crow, who you speak of, if he was just filming us, then why bring all those weapons? I think that's a legitimate question to ask him. And we asked him, and he didn't provide a reasonable answer. I mean, if he would have said, hey, I just believe in guns. I love guns. It's my right. It would have been one thing, but that wasn't it. It was dangerous, aggressive, and violent behavior, that with the guns and ammo, that caused this alarm. And you know what, that being said, there's a system that everyone, for the most part, adopts and accepts, and that's the process of the grand jury. And so that case was put in front of a grand jury. So that's a jury of your guys' peers here in Multnomah County, right?
Not mine.
You live in Multnomah County.
Yeah.
So you live in Multnomah County, right?
Right.
So you live in a county, by mere presence here and living here, you may not agree with it, but you accept that there's a process through the court systems where they look at these crimes. And they're members of the community just like you. They're not police officers. And this grand jury saw that case and chose to indict him for unlawful use of a weapon, meaning that he had the intention to use his weapons unlawfully against police officers. So even though the police officers did an investigation, 12 independent jurors, sorry, it's not 12, I know it was seated that day, but the jurors themselves said, you know what, there's enough evidence to support that he was there to assault police officers. And so I would say, just from if I was an outsider, I would think that, let the jury make the decision, and they did. And so they supported what we found. And so when I hear people critique us or are critical of that investigation, they shouldn't be mad at us. I mean, we made the initial inquiry into the investigation to see what was going on, but at the end of the day, it was in the hands of the jury, and the jury voted. So
yeah, but the jury doesn't get to hear the defense. From the defense, the jury also doesn't get to hear constitutional issues and stuff like that.
What would be the best thing for the grand jury to have heard? Take a pick out of everything.
What would be the best thing?
Yeah, for the grand, in your defense of what you're saying, because you said that they heard what we had to say. What would be the best thing for them to hear?
Well, he had a Second Amendment right to carry weapons.
Yeah, that's true.
And the question is there enough evidence to show that he was out to commit a crime, or that he was just carrying?
So I'm glad you asked that, because the grand jury voted on that, and they voted on to indict him on unlawful use of a weapon, which would be his intent to use his guns unlawfully. So they felt there was sufficient evidence to indict him on that. So yes, they answered that question. Not us, not me, but they did. So I'm asking you, this is a question, what would be the best thing for that grand jury to hear to make an assessment?
That's basically it. It's Second Amendment rights.
Okay, they're aware of the Constitution, but what if I told you that Mr. Crowell himself testified in grand jury?
I'd be shocked.
Well, I'm telling you, Mr. Crowell himself testified in the grand jury, and they chose to indict him after they heard testimony.
Why is that cop messing with my car?
I'm not sure that he is messing with your car because all I see is bright lights.
Yeah, and it's sitting right behind my car.
I don't know. Maybe he's looking at your personal license plate.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Maybe.
I don't know. So why is it okay for you to record those license plates, but they can't look at your car?
Well, you can look at my car. I don't care. I don't carry any weapons or anything in it. But the matter of it is for an officer to run the plates or something like that, he needs good cause, and I'm legally parked.
Good cause?
Yeah.
That's inaccurate.
Mm.
We're trusted with the ability to perform records checks. By merely your license plate being displayed, we could run it
right
for our own discretion. Whether we take action off what we find or locate, it's a totally different conversation, you know?
Yeah.
But what are you worried about in your license? I mean, if we look at your license plate...
No, I'm not worried about a thing. I'm just wondering why he's sitting behind my car with his bright lights.
Well, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm just trying to give you some advice.
Yeah.
Okay, will you take my advice?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be a successful career buff, a producer. I want you to have good video content that we can all watch and all
right.
It's good video content. But what you are recording right now is boring. You're recording a car with a light on it, and you're recording cars coming out of a garage. There's no drama. There's no climax. There's no storyline.
Right.
There's no famous actors. There's nothing.
Right.
So how do we get famous to put something that people
to get famous? I don't do this to get famous. I don't do this to get famous.
Not famous, but you definitely want to be recognized and you want your message heard, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, see, here's the problem. When you see me, you see a police officer, right? Police sergeant, right? But I'm a person, and I could be swayed. And if you presented, you and your crew presented a good argument to make me change sides, then maybe I would, you know what? Those guys know what they're talking about. But when I look on YouTube and all you do is have garage doors and lights, it's like, well, what's
I got a lot more than that.
What's the reason to get behind that?
Yeah, I got a lot more than that.
Well, I mean, like what? Like what?
I got police encounters. I got good ones. I got bad ones.
There were shootings today. Somebody was shot today. That to me is like the viewer would like to see.
The viewer would like to see it if I can get to it.
Oh, you know what? Matter of fact, you know, it's my opinion as a viewer, as a Film the Police viewer, a Mike Blue Hair channel viewer, that you guys only post stuff that you guys think looks negative and reflects bad. You rarely post anything good. For example, my first encounter with Mike Blue Hair, I was in the middle of 82nd in Division, and myself and this officer were pushing a vehicle that died. Just a citizen's vehicle was stuck. She was stranded, so we pushed the vehicle out of the way. And Mike Blue Hair is recording me, and I have no idea who this is. I was new to the precinct, and I said to him, "What are you recording? What's so big about this?" And he explained to me that he films the police and he runs this group, and that he was just simply recording the police acting. He said this was a good conduct. I'm going to put it on my channel. He never did. Why?
I don't know, but I've put a lot of good stuff on it, including stuff the horse cops have did, other things that other cops have did. I've seen a cop out there in Gresham stop a lady, and he searched her car.
Hi, how are you?
And searched searched her, right, and found a little bit of drugs and stuff. And he's like, "Well, I'll take the drugs and I'll let you go." You know, didn't cite or anything like that.
So somebody committing a felony crime, the officer has discretion to arrest them or not, right?
Right.
So how come if the officer chooses to let them go on a felony crime, it's viewed as the right thing to do? But if somebody was to hold them accountable, an officer was to hold them accountable and charge them with the crime, why does that make them a bad officer? Well, it doesn't make that a bad encounter.
It doesn't make it a bad encounter. Basically what I believe and a lot of other people believe is what you do to your own body is your business, as long as you're not killing yourself. If someone climbed up to the roof of the precinct and wanted to jump off, yeah, I mean, you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting other people.
Well, who?
Your family.
So, wait. So, under that, okay, you sparked some conversation here. So, if somebody was to climb up, so we're in agreement, somebody was to climb up to the rooftop and jump off, right?
Right.
And you would, by their death would affect their parents or their children or their spouses, right? But then if your partner, your daughter, or your son, or your parent was abusing drugs, that's not the same type of effect it's having on other people. If you're a mom or a dad, it's not affecting your children. It's not a gateway to any worse things.
It's not going to destroy your family.
Drugs don't.
Drugs destroy family, but how it destroys families is people get caught up in the legal system. I know people that went to the start court, they can't even work. Because you can't miss court, you can't miss your classes.
For all these people that you're talking about, there's a dozen other stories where overdoses have happened, or parents are just deadbeat parents because they're so high they can't take their parents to school, they can't give them a good holiday, they can't do a good job because they're abusing drugs. And I'm not talking about marijuana, and that we've accepted that's illegal, but I'm talking about, legal, but heroin and crack and cocaine and some of these drugs, even painkillers that are taken illegally are, I would say,
painkillers taken legally can cause death.
Oh yeah, that's my point. So I don't see how I don't buy your argument that drugs don't affect families. I mean, I think they do, and I think they do in a big way.
Yeah.
I think that the world would be a better place if there wasn't drug use. Period.
Right.
I mean, you tell me what heroin does to. Tell me one good heroin story. I mean, there just aren't any.
No.
Yeah, so heroin ruins families, period. And heroin's a big problem here in Portland. And so, to me, I believe in discretion above anything. And I can tell you, for every time you see me in court, every ticket I write, there's probably about 2 or 3 dozen that went away, got away, or I had the discretion to say, you know what, we're going to go about this a different way. It's all about accountability. So, in the event I contact somebody that's addicted to drugs and maybe they hurt their family, maybe I have information about their drug use and how it's affecting their life, maybe that arrest is an intervention. Maybe that stop court, the inconvenience of going to stop court or being monitored by a probationary officer is the intervention that person needs to get on the right track.
But usually it's not. Usually it leads to more things like probation violations and stuff like that.
If one was on probation, they would have to violate it doing something illegal against the probationary clauses or stipulations, and I think that in itself is a problem. It sounds like somebody's having a personal problem or failing to be accountable. I mean, if you're on probation and the probations are pretty reasonable, don't do drugs, go to bed at a recent time, don't hang out with gang members, and if somebody chooses to violate that, I think their priorities are wrong. Their priorities should be on recovery. And probationary periods are never very long, especially for stop court. A year, 2 years. I mean, how old are you?
Me, 51.
So if you got a 1-year probation, that would be a 1 in 51 time in your life that you would have to obey some sort of laws and hope to get on the right track. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, I mean, I absolutely believe in the fact that an arrest can be an intervention of some sort. I mean, if you're a heroin addict and you're on drugs every day and you're always chasing the high, or, you don't want to go relapse, I mean, but you can't quite control it, going to jail, putting you in jail, you may get sick, but at the end of the day, maybe that intervention and that pain gets you off of it.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. See, like that? Like, why don't you record him?
Oh, I do record them.
He's on a nice motorcycle.
Yep, I've recorded him about 100 times.
So, seriously, I want to know what the value is in recording personal vehicles. Because Because like we spoke of before, you want to have a relationship with us.
Yeah, the value is I got people on my YouTube channel that wants me to do that.
Why do they want you to? So what do they want then? Why do they want officers' personal vehicles?
Why? I don't know.
Do you think it's a little bit maybe, what's the word, reckless on your part to take people from your YouTube channel and report officers' plates because they might be using it maliciously?
Not really. I don't think they are.
Well, so help me think about it. What is a reasonable explanation why you would want officers' personal vehicles?
I wouldn't, honestly.
Well, you're out here recording it.
Right, but that's because I got people on my...
So people came to me and said, Sergeant Wilbon, I want crack cocaine and heroin and all that stuff. It doesn't mean I'm going to go give it to them.
No.
So when people want, if you don't think you need this and you don't think it's worth your while, help me understand. Let's figure this out together. Why would you want the personal plates of officers?
Why not?
Well, I think that it violates a certain amount of privacy. It may not be illegal and violate some law, but at the same point.
See, here's
what.
Yeah.
That's more action.
That's more action.
You're not a police officer.
No.
So here's my point. I think that there's places that are sacred, right? Like you don't mess with a man when he's on the toilet, right?
Right.
You don't go to a man's house. You don't talk about his mom. You don't hurt his wife. I mean, there's certain things that are just crossing the lines in this game, right? And so I think that recording personal vehicle plates is like kind of crossing the boundary, because the personal vehicle and their plates can contain information to people's loved ones. So when you're out here recording their plates, it doesn't go well for the relationship that we need to build if we're going to coexist together in this world. The police obviously aren't going anywhere. You seem to have a strong enough organization where you guys are going to stick around. So I'm of the school of thought that we shouldn't continuously bump heads on call, and I'm more than willing to allow you to record as long as you don't interfere with a police investigation, because I have nothing to hide. But when you come here and you record officers' personal plates, but you can't give me a valid reason for doing that, I can only assume that it's for malicious intent.
No.
Because what does a vehicle license plate give you? Maybe an officer's personal home, maybe an officer's relatives, their driver's license number. And so why would you need that? There's no logical explanation why you would need that. Right?
Right.
And the only thing that you can tell me is that people want it on your YouTube channel.
Yep.
And, well, it's obvious to say that most people that follow you guys on YouTube don't like the police. And so I think that we could gather that, unless you can give me a better explanation, that you're recovering or you're recording officers' personal plates for malicious intent by either you or your users. Can we at least agree on that? Does that make sense?
No, because I don't think my users are doing it for malicious intent.
Then what are they using it for? Give me entertain me. Give me one good reason.
I think it's a challenge.
A challenge for what? It's not a challenge. You just sit here with your camera. Where's
right.
The challenge?
Well, the challenge is, do I have the guts to do it?
Well, you've established that for about an hour tonight. So I mean, you've proven your point if you're just doing it to prove that you have